Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male, and female, he created them, the two. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." Genesis, the first chapter, verses 26 through 28. I remember the first time I read that verse, and it stuck. I was very young. And it happened after a certain event one weekend in my backyard. My father had recently purchased a football for me. And it was a really nice one. I had some older ones, and they were kind of out of shape and flat. And this was a really nice one, and so I was excited to go out and play with it. And I kicked it a little too far, and growing up in the Midwest, we were surrounded by farm fields, barbed wire. And of course, it goes over the fence where there was a Hereford bull. Now, every time I approached the fence to sneak through the barbed wire to go get it, that thing came 3 or 4 steps closer. And I was pretty young at this time, maybe 9, 10 years old. And I didn't want to test the waters, so to speak. There were cows in the field, and I had no fear of them. But this thing kept moving closer and closer to the football. And I knew if I went in and told my father that he might not take it well, but I was forced to. So I told my father, worked up the courage, and he said, "Go get your football." And I said, "But," he said, "Go get your football." And so I went back out there and tried to distract the bull and tried to run to the other side of the fence and thought maybe he'd chase me over there, but nope, that bull stood right by that football. And I came back in and said, "Dad, I tried." He said, "I didn't tell you to try." He said, "Go get it." I said, "Dad, I think he's going to kill me if I do." So my father put down his newspaper and said, "Come on." And we went outside, and my dad walked through the fence, and the bull took 2 or 3 more steps toward my dad, and my dad stood up, took 2 steps toward him and said, "Beat it," and the thing bolted. Now I was stunned. This thing weighed 2,000 pounds. My dad was maybe 250, and I was maybe 120 pounds myself, if that. And I just sat there with my jaw open. And he held on to the football. He said, "Now, come inside." And that's when he read me this scripture. He said, "Where do you think we get the term bully from? Never, never back down to a bully. And also never disobey me again." And so he held on to the football for a month or 2, and I finally got it back. Now, some might question the wisdom of sending a 9 or 10-year-old into a enclosed barbed wire fence with a Hereford bull. But the lesson stuck. This is my Father's world. Let me never forget that though the wrong seems oft so strong, God is the ruler yet. This is my endorsement right now for President of the United States in a couple years. Tom Cotton. I was unaware that this senator from Arkansas was a U.S. Army Ranger, but he proved it. He proved it recently in a very short exchange with a man named Merrick Garland. You see, if you want to deal with a bully, you smack him in the mouth. See, bullies don't like to fight, they like to win. And I'm going to play this clip real quick so that you can hear it. And he is unintimidated at all by this appointee, Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland. And he puts this man in his place, much like my father did that bull so many years ago. So 1 second while I adjust the volume.
This is shameful. This testimony, your directive, your performance is shameful.
Okay. That's not.
Thank God you are not on the Supreme Court. You should resign in disgrace, Judge.
That's all it took. And trust me when I tell you, that is all it takes. That guy gets an honorary Florida Man award. Many people have said Governor DeSantis should be president. He has no interest in it. He has a sick wife and he has 3 little babies. And he's going to be governor for 2 terms, which is what Florida allows. And after that, I don't know what his plans are. But right now, the number one choice that I have for president of the United States based on that is Senator Tom Cotton. Until I see something else, this guy gets my endorsement. I had no idea when I first saw that clip that he was a U.S. Army Ranger, but I decided to look it up, and I'm like, yep, that's military. That's absolutely what you're taught. You don't back down to bullies. Not now, not ever. And it works every time it's tried. Remember, everybody said, oh, what's DeSantis going to do about all these liberal places and their mask mandates in Florida? Leon County, which is Tallahassee in Florida, superintendent adjusts mask rule, meaning backs down, bringing district into compliance with DeSantis' order. And they will. Alachua will back down. Brevard will back down. Broward will back down. Orlando, they might be the last ones to do it, but they will back down. You just have to turn around and smack the bully in the mouth. And it's scripture. You see, God could have created all of those animals to be compliant. Could he not have? No need for man to have dominion or accept dominion as a command. But you see, this is what God did. He made man in his image, and then he said, go take dominion. Go subdue it. Be fruitful and multiply. That's something you are now commanded to do. He could have made it so that every single animal just roll over and it'd, be a piece of cake. It's not, is it? See, animals can smell fear. And I know the vast majority of my audience knows exactly what I'm talking about. You show fear to an animal, it's going to know. Now, at 9 and 10 years old, I didn't understand this. But it was a lesson I needed. I still remember that day like it was yesterday. I really do. And to this day, I would defy most men to go get inside a barbed wire fence with a 2,000-pound Hereford bull. They are intimidating. But when you walk in power and when you walk in authority, which is something as a youth I took for granted amongst the men that were in my life at the time, my bus driver would have done the same thing. My uncles, grandfathers, would have had no fear of this animal. But there's a time in our lives when we put away childish things, to paraphrase another scripture, and we start acting as men and women, and that's what we're commanded to do right now with these bullies that want to push people around and want to say, you have to do this or we're going to fire you. You're going to have to do that or we're going to cancel you. This is our Father's world. And let us never forget that though the wrong in it seems often so strong, our God is the ruler yet. Period. So, I will leave that there, but God bless. Have a great week. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys, Lord willing, tonight on Twitch.